Welcome to Reverent and Rebellious, a safe space for faith-based conversations on the things that nobody seems to want to talk about these days. We are reverent, we value truth, we elevate scripture, but we are also rebellious. We shatter myths and we destroy dogma, so jump in. Join us, Logan, Pat, and me, the brother Peter, as we get reverent and we get rebellious. What's up, everybody?
What's up?
We're surviving the flood.
Yes, we are. We obviously we're here remote this time again because we're having weather issues. We couldn't get rain for about 6 months, and now we can't get rid of it.
Yeah, I was like, man, because my phone, all of a sudden, I got an alert from like one of my weather apps, and then I got the text message from that code red thing, and so I was like, we might need to do this one remotely.
I was good with it though. With all the rain, I can actually breathe. I've been coughing and crap here recently, so I'm glad that that's happening.
I'm just glad for something liquid to come out of the sky. I almost don't care what it is.
Oh yeah, me too, man. It's been terrible. That's what Dad and I said. The air looked clean. Like it was so dusty. All of our sinuses and everything have been jacked up for a while, and so
man, I walk the dogs almost every day, and we typically go out into the field and go back out to where the storage containers are, and then we'll circle around, go back down to the pond, and they get in the water, and then we trudge back up the hill. The whole way, literally, the grass was crunching.
I believe it.
How dry it was.
Yes, it was like it made a crunching sound every time I took a step. It was like, wow.
I haven't cut my yard in like probably 3 weeks.
I feel like all of the landscaping companies have taken a really big hit.
Yes. Yeah, I got a good buddy that he does, and that's what he said, it's been killing him.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, what do you do?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was about we had an 80-something day stretch there. Where we did not have a significant rainfall. We had been, I think we had been upgraded to a D3 on the drought scale, which is like severe drought. And, unfortunately, this rain it's too late for us on the yield. Yeah. But I mean, I do have some cover crop seed that I'll be putting out and stuff soon. And so it'll help that. And man, honestly, I was okay with, I mean, we just needed rain so bad that I'm good with it.
Exactly. I almost had to move to Moab and start my life over again.
Yeah. Well, nice. Pat, what have you been doing?
Man, I have been working at the theater, the Ruffin Theater. It's in a little rough shape. They're needing help. They're needing a lot of tech people. They're needing a lot of volunteers. And Kyle and I have been there, and we have pretty much overhauled their sound system so far. But we've been crawling through asbestos and all kinds of stuff from Elvis's day. And so it's been fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun though too.
Give us another little boost on your microphone there.
On mine?
Yep.
Okay.
I want all the people to hear all of your golden words.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's okay. Really good.
Yeah, right, I had just turned my volume up some more because I'm like, dang, I still just can't hear. I can't hear you, man.
Well, I mean, I can crank it up as loud as you want.
No, it's okay. As long as we get in the ballpark. This we remote every 9 years, so we have to figure this out all over again every time we get together.
We literally have technical difficulties every time.
Every time. And if we did this every week, we'd have it down to a science. It'd be no problem.
Yeah.
I would remember where all the buttons are and all the stuff. And I just have to I have to watch the tutorial videos before we do one of these things. Silliness. But anyway.
Hey, we need everybody to do something real quick.
That's exactly right.
Forget, man. I was about to forget one of our most important things. And speaking of, let me see. I haven't looked. I always go a few times before I look and see. if we have anything like new ratings. But we need everybody to leave us those ratings and reviews. We need you to hit that like button, hit subscribe on
That's it.
YouTube. Leave
That's
us a
it.
comment below.
All the things. Yeah, click all the
All the
buttons.
things.
All of them except for the thumbs down.
That's
Don't
right.
do that one. Don't
do that, and don't leave us 1 star. We want 5. Now, I see we're still at 31 on Spotify. So it's time that we see those numbers start to tick up.
Another little, we've gotten some new listeners, some new watchers. We also have a couple of new YouTube subscribers to our channel, so that's a really good thing. Yeah. So we want to welcome all of those. So
we do.
Slowly but surely. And also, we want to remind you about our 100th episode coming up, October 10th. 10/10.
We're pumped.
And we're going to be doing a live episode. If you want to show up in person and hear my jokes in person, then you can actually discover what we look like from the neck down.
That's right. You're not missing much.
But and by the way, if I look over here every now and then, baseball game's going on screen number 3. So
he's already been getting depressed.
We're down 3-1 right now. So
for those of you watching who have not been in Peter's command center, there's screens everywhere. Like he is. It literally looks like he's flying a NASA mission.
That's exactly right.
He's got the spread, man.
I need one of those, joystick kind of controllers things. Yep. Yeah. But anyway, October 10th, 6:30 at Holly Grove Church, Brighton, Tennessee. So we will try to put out some sort of, information here pretty soon, and kind of let you know about that. But we'll all get together and we'll have a fun time, and we'll have snacks, and we'll have T-shirts and merchandise, and maybe a special giveaway. I haven't decided yet, but we're going to have. We may even give some of you some screen time. You never know.
Hey, if someone has like a really unique, cool question, or if we get to talking some of our cool, weird stuff, and somebody has a wild story about it, hey man, we might have to just bring them up and let them share it.
That might be a lot of fun. But it's gonna be a great episode and a great time, a great night. It's a Friday night. And it's fall break, so there's no football going on, no high school football. So you got no excuses. We want you to come out and join us.
10/10?
10/10.
At what time do we say?
6:30.
6:30.
Gotcha.
6:30.
Nice.
So what about we just got a couple of comments this time around.
Yeah, we got to. Rhonda says, absolutely fabulous podcast, gentlemen, but Lord have mussy.
Yeah.
The tongue, brains, balls, and gizzard talk made me feel a mite peaked. PJ, I know that Brownsville Exxon well, super nice people and sketchy hot deli bar.
Yeah.
And then Deanna Morris writes in and she says, thanks to y'all, I am elbow deep in Gordon Fee's How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth.
See, isn't that great?
That is a good read. I'm telling you guys now.
We made a convert. Wonderful. So that's pretty awesome. Well, I got I got. You're gonna like this. Okay, so a woman awakes during the night to find that her husband is not in bed. She puts on a robe and goes downstairs to look for him. She finds him sitting at the kitchen table with a hot cup of coffee in front of him. He appears to be in deep thought, just staring at the wall. She watches as he wipes a tear from his eye and takes a sip of his coffee. What's the matter, dear? Why are you down here at this time of night? Husband looks up from his coffee. It's the 20th anniversary of the day we met. She can't believe that he remembered, and she starts to tear up. The husband continues, do you remember 20 years ago when we started dating? I was 18 and you were only 16. Once again, the wife is touched to tears. Yes, I do, she replies. Husband pauses. The words were not coming easily. Do you remember when your father caught us in the back seat of my car? Yes, I remember, lowering herself into the chair beside him. The husband continued, do you remember when he shoved the shotgun in my face and said, either you marry my daughter or I will send you to prison for 20 years? Oh, I remember that too, she replied softly. He wiped another tear from his cheek and said, I would have gotten out today.
That's what it when.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
I would have gotten out today.
20 years. 20 years.
Yeah. So there you go. So what do y'all want to talk about today? What are we going to get into?
I hate to use. I ain't gonna say the word. Let's not say what we called it, but I ain't gonna say it. That's like you can't even say that word no more.
That's the Antichrist.
We're continuing this series called Straight Outta Context, and this is kind of it's a little bit similar to the a series we did called "The Bible Doesn't Say That," and that is really that, but it's different because that series was about how we just totally twist Scripture. We just
right.
We just misuse it, misappropriate it. Straight Outta Context is a little bit different. The first episode we did in this little series, we looked at the 4 or 5 most commonly taken out of context verses, and just kind of did a little discussion on that. But where we've gone beyond that is basically just these are passages that we commonly understand a particular way, and it's not terrible to understand them that way, but it really isn't what the Scripture is talking about.
Right.
And so we looked at the Leviticus sacrifices, and we looked at the love chapter, and various other different things. And when we really examine the context of it, then it actually helps us to get a deeper sense of meaning in the whole thing. It really we read it in a whole different way. So today's straight out of context passage is Psalm 91. And many of you will know Psalm 91 because of the dreaded period that we're not even mentioning, the period of pestilence and the period of isolation.
We'll call it lockdown.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Sure. I like that. This was used. I mean, it was effect. Our church made signs, Psalm 91 signs.
I know. I forgot about that. Peter reminded me of all the signs that were everywhere.
They were everywhere. And once again, it's not terrible to use it in that context. But I'm going to read the whole thing for you. There's only 16 verses. And we'll just talk about, kind of what it means at face value. Okay? So here's the way it goes. Now, keep in mind, in our English Bible and in the Masoretic text where it comes from, there is no title given to this. It doesn't say, we'll talk about this in about an hour and a half, but it doesn't say, it doesn't mention who wrote it. But so anyway, so here's how it goes. It says, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust." Here's the good part. "For it is he who delivers you from the snare of the trapper and from the deadly pestilence." That's the key phrase right there, the deadly pestilence. "He will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you may seek refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and bulwark. You will not be afraid of the terror by night, or of the arrow that flies by day, of the pestilence that stalks in darkness, or of the destruction that lays waste at noon. 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not approach you. You will only look on with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked. For you have made the Lord my refuge, even the Most High your dwelling place. No evil will befall you, nor will any plague come near your tent." That was the other line. "For he will give his angels charge concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will bear you up in their hands, lest you strike your foot against a stone. You will tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you will trample down. Because he has loved me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him securely on high, because he has known my name. He will call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will rescue him and honor him. With a long life I will satisfy him, and let him behold my salvation." There it is. What do you think, Pat?
Man, what's crazy about that whole passage? It's this is talking way deeper than a single moment in time. And we like to link it to whatever our trial or situation is in that time period, but this is talking about a lifetime.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a very good point. What about you, Logan? What is this kind of, I don't know, where you at on this?
Well, I can't help but see, I'm doing what Pat doesn't like, because I'm thinking when you say the pestilence, kind of coming. I mean, my mind just immediately now goes to that time when we were dealing with it, and that's kind of the creeping pestilence that is going on, in my opinion.
Yeah, no plague will come near your tent.
Yes, that was
the
exactly
pestilence that stalks in darkness.
Yep. Yeah, I get a very creeping death Metallica vibe from
Oh
it.
yeah.
So basically, we read this psalm either when we've got some sort of calamity around us, or like we experienced in 5 years ago, or if somebody is, I've heard this read, when we go to lay hands on people, because they're really sick, or they got some bad diagnosis, or those kinds of things. And I mean, it's just it's a very encouraging psalm.
Well,
I mean,
that's what I was about to ask. Would you consider this an encouragement type uh, section or chapter?
well, I mean, it's hard not to read it that way, because it's talking about deliverance.
Yeah.
You're my refuge, my fortress, my God in whom I trust. It says, 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand. It shall not approach you. On and on. But the very, very interesting thing about this, now, there's a couple really interesting things, because uh, first of all, um, it is one of those psalms. Psalms are divided into 5 books, of the Psalms, and this is book 4. Psalm 90 is the opening psalm, and it is a prayer of Moses, the man of God.
Right.
And then we get Psalm 91, and we don't, according to our Bible, we're not sure who wrote it. And then Psalm 92 is a song for the Sabbath day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's at first glance, it seems a little, it's a little odd, that it would be right there.
Right.
Got a prayer, we got a Sabbath,
They're back to back too.
Yeah.
And so in our minds, we think it's right there. One idea, one thought.
Yeah, but this is an anomaly. I mean, this is, I know that the people who arranged all of the Psalms arranged them in a particular way. And I suppose if we really, really, really drill down, which we're not going to do tonight because we got some other things to get to, this is typically viewed as a psalm of God's protection. It's really kind of what's at the heart of it. But the interesting thing is that this is the psalm that Satan quotes when he's tempting Jesus in the wilderness.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
I didn't know that. I guess I did not remember that.
Yeah, we'll get to that whole scenario later on. But the most fascinating thing about this, and I'm going to make a case for this, because I'm going to have to make a case for it, because it doesn't really present itself right off the bat until we get behind the text a little bit. Remember, our hermeneutic, we have in front of the text, behind the text.
Yep.
So we look at the text, and it is about God's protection. And I wouldn't deny that for a second. We get in front of the text, and we what we bring to the text, and we bring, okay, well, there's people that have autoimmune diseases, and there's people that are in car wrecks and everything. We apply this protection to them, or we pray this protection over them, and all these different kinds. So here's in front of the text. Here's the text itself, but what's behind the text? And that's where the most the fascinating thing is, because there is a really, really compelling case that this is an exorcism psalm.
Really? Yep.
Yeah. It is not just a prayer against physical protection, but it's a prayer for protection against demonic forces.
Would this be the one? So I listened to a podcast called The Exorcist Files.
Okay.
And I think I don't know if I've sent you. I may have sent y'all like a podcast from them. It's been a little while since I've listened, but like for a while I was just I go through spurts where like I'll binge a podcast.
Yeah.
And this one,
it's a good podcast. I
it
enjoy
is
it.
good.
Yeah.
It's true. And they have a Catholic priest and another guy, and they share actual stories of exorcisms that have been performed. And
Okay.
they do really high production. Like you hear it played out.
Wow.
And it is intense. Like it's I mean, it's a Christian podcast, but like it's frightening. Like you would be kind of unnerved listening to it at night.
Yeah.
But they go into all that, and it's got me thinking about, like, I'm curious now. The Catholic Church. I mean, they're like the Exorcist.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're all the way into it.
For sure.
Yes, I mean they're all into it, and they have their team of like exorcist pastors or what priests, I guess you'd call them.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, is this one of their arsenals, one of their weapons in the arsenal? I guess
it very well might be. It's interesting because this is one of those cases where your typical garden variety, really well educated commentator, if you're going to write a commentary on this psalm, you're not going to write the stuff that we're going to sort of uncover here.
Yeah.
But yet, in the scholarly world, this is actually pretty common. It's pretty well known, some of this stuff. It's just that, we don't run into a lot of, pastors and preachers and even professors that have a kind of supernatural worldview. And so everything gets kind of, moved into the tangible realm.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about, but there's some odd language here, and I want you to just kind of, these are things that honestly that raised my awareness, and it kind of makes you go, huh? And we know that every time you go, huh, there's probably something behind it, right?
Right.
So why does he use a few of the phrases that he uses in this song? The snare of the trapper. That's just, I mean, you would think it'd be, I don't know, the jackal or why the snare of the trapper?
Yeah.
From deadly pestilence, we can get with that because they had a lot of that in those days. But then the terror by night, or the arrow that flies by day. It's just, and then why does the destruction only come at noon? The destruction that lays waste at noon.
It's there. Now, I don't know if I'm interpreting this wrong, but I'm thinking, because I've done some trapping. And so, it's, and even the bow and arrow, it's a lot of times that's more of a stealth factor. Because, we set the trap, you get out of there, you don't want to leave any scent or anything. And then obviously the bow is quiet, you're kind of at a distance. So like, I don't know if I'm totally off, but it's like.
But see, this is the weird thing though, because if you're trying to get to it in context, it's like, well, are these people like, is this like a real danger for them?
Right.
That they would need God to protect them from it?
Right.
Yeah. It sounds like it.
I suppose, but
it reads that way for sure.
I know, but this is stuff that we don't see in a lot of other places in the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember reading an Old Testament story about a trapper.
Well, do you think this is part of it being a psalm, part of it being that type, that genre?
Sure. And you get some creative imagery and stuff like that. I think it's perfectly fine. I'm not saying that any of this stuff is like weird or like wrong or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just stuff you don't normally expect, even from a psalm. Because David will talk about his enemies, and he'll talk about those who pursue him, and he'll talk about those with swords, and it's a lot of sort of warrior language and shields and missiles and stuff like that. But snare of the trapper, deadly pestilence, it's just kind of odd. And this is what has this is what has gotten some of these scholars into this stuff, and this is there have been plenty of journal articles written, and but you're not going to take a commentary off the shelf and read anything except for this is a psalm of God's protection, and so on and so forth. Then you got things like the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so where we're going to go with this is particularly verses 3 to 6, where some of this oddball language happens, and then 11 through 13, which is the area where Satan quotes to Jesus. So now there's a little cast of characters here. So if you look at this word pestilence, okay, so it's he who delivers you from the snare of the trapper, from the deadly pestilence. This is the Hebrew word Deber, Deber, Deber. Now, Deber, is actually the name of a Canaanite god. It is the god of disease and pestilence. And you're supposed to pray to Deborah.
I see that.
Okay, so now we remember we're kind of going on the realization of what we've learned about the unseen realm and the spirit world and things like that. These gods are not made up; they're real. They're Elohim. They are created godlike beings, right? And so we know that that they exist and they're out there, and when they're worshipped by pagan nations, they're worshiping the wrong God. They're not worshiping the Most High. So you look at verse 1, it's very odd. It's almost like a signal that this is going on, because it says, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High." That's El Elyon. That is the highest Elohim of all the Elohim.
Right.
So there's even a plurality kind of going on there in that very first phrase. Same thing with the Almighty. Those are two phrases that are drawing attention to the fact that of all the Elohim that exist out there, there's only one like Yahweh. He is the Most High. He is the only uncreated one. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So he says, it is he who delivers you from the snare of the trapper and from Deber, from that God. Okay. So Deber is one of the three proverbial causes of death on a wide scale in their culture, in the ancient Near East culture. The word is used more than 50 times in the Bible. So it kind of goes along with sword, blood, famine. It's in all through Jeremiah, Ezekiel. And in this, there's a book that Logan, you probably would be interested in this. It's called DDD. It's the Dictionary of Demons and, gosh, what's the third D? I can't remember right now. Anyway, it's the quintessential dictionary of all of the dark stuff in the Bible.
Really? Yeah. I am interested. That's pretty wild.
It sounds like Solomon's major keys.
Yeah.
You know who wrote it?
I'm going to find it for you right now. I will find it.
I'm Googling.
Also a fun fact too, that Deber, it is the same word used for in Exodus when they're talking about pestilence.
Yeah. Dictionary of, what's that?
I was going to say, is it Dictionary of Deities and Demons?
Yes, that's it. Dictionary Deity and Demons in the Bible.
That Bad to the Bone software that you got has it on there.
Yeah, you have to buy it. I haven't bought it yet.
And say, man, you got all the cool books.
I'm going to have that book because it is super, super helpful. But there's a little, let's see, who did that? It's not an authorship, it's an editorship.
Yeah, Carol van der Turen, Bob Becking, and Peter Pieter W. Vanderhorst. They sound like some people that would know.
Yeah, they get into this stuff. Yeah, for sure. But it says it doesn't always refer to this deity, this pagan god, because sometimes it just means sword, blood, famine. Because Jeremiah and Ezekiel use this all the time. So it wouldn't be one of those red flag words. Every time you see it, you go, "Oh, that's that god."
Well, it's pretty cool. They got I see consultants. Man, they got them from Chicago, Paris, Jerusalem, Basel, Heidelberg. Like, they're all over, man. That's
everywhere.
Cool.
I know it is really awesome, but and they're not generally sort of predisposed to acknowledge, the multiple godlike, created beings and things like that. But even here in their little entry, they say, besides this empirical meaning of the cause of death on a mass scale, it seems to be used a number of times in a personified sense as a demon or evil deity. Deber, pestilence. This is one of the gods. Okay. Then you get to verse 6. and you see the pestilence. That's the word Deborah there. The stalks in darkness. It's like, does pestilence really stalk? Well, a pagan god does. I mean, and then it says, or of the destruction that lays waste at noon. This word destruction is this word ketev, Qetev, ketev. It means destruction, specifically that which is cut off or eliminated or blown off the face of the earth. Now, there it says scholars have translated sometimes as plague, sometimes as pestilence, but it has the overtones of a divine name. There is a title for a god in the Ugaritic culture, QZ.B, Kezeb.
Huh.
And he is a kinsman, is a relative of the Ugaritic god Mot. Mot is one of the supreme gods in that culture.
Mm-hmm.
Mot is the god of death.
Gotcha.
So Ketev is closely related to Mot.
Gotcha.
And this is all going to come into play here pretty soon.
Okay.
There's one other deity name that will come into play when we get to a few of these other scriptures, and that is Resheph. Resheph. Okay, so and okay, so I want to get to that in just a second. Well, let's get to it now. We might as well just unpack all the characters right now.
Let's do it.
Okay. Resheph is also a Canaanite pagan god, and Resheph, we'll see him mentioned in Habakkuk and in Hosea. He is an archer. Okay. So you will not be afraid of the terror by night or of the arrow that flies by the day. Yeah. So we kind of got this little cast of characters, just sort of, it's like, it's not a coincidence that they're all three clustered up here in this little part of this psalm, right?
Right. I was going to say, so what is this like essentially them calling out certain demons?
Yes. Well, and it's almost like using them as examples.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So if you're going to, you say, you're not going to be afraid of the thunder, and you're not going to be afraid of you're identifying all these things, but you're actually then putting a name behind them.
Gotcha.
Putting a known name.
Gotcha.
Now, keep in mind, what the psalmist is doing here, and what we'll see in some of these other passages, is they're not assigning any supreme power or even any autonomy. They're not authorized to operate on their own.
Yeah,
and we'll see this. Okay, so Pat, read Hosea 13:14.
Hosea 13 what?
14.
Okay.
And this verse is going to sound really familiar to you because you've heard this from the New Testament.
Hosea 13:14. Shall I ransom them from the power of Sheol? Shall I redeem from them death? O death, where are your thorns? O Sheol, where is your sting? Compassion will be hidden from my sight.
Okay, so this is God speaking about the iniquity. The iniquity of Ephraim, or shall we say, the tribe of Jacob. All right. So Hosea is prophesying against them, and I want to get a couple of the verses ahead. He says, he's prophesying how they're going to basically, crumble in the dust. He says, now they sin more and more. They make for themselves molten images. And he says, yet I have been the Lord your God since the land of Egypt, and you are not to know any God except me. There is no Savior besides me. Care for you in the wilderness, on and on and on. It is your destruction, O Israel, that you are against me, against your help, so on and so forth. It says, the iniquity of Ephraim is bound up. His sin is stored up. The pains of childbirth come upon him. He is not a wise son. He keeps going on. And then he says, shall I ransom them from the power of Sheol? And basically that really reads, I will ransom them from the power of Sheol. Sheol being the underworld, the place of the dead, right?
Yeah.
I shall redeem them from death. And then he says, O death, moat, where are your thorns? Or actually, the word is also plagues. O death, where are your plagues? He says, O Sheol, where is your sting? Well, this is Deborah. Where are your thorns, plagues, Deborah? Sheol, where is your sting? Katev. Yeah. So it's almost like almost like a taunt here. He's saying, Moat, where are your buddies?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Where are your partners? Where, so he's calling them out, even in this little prophecy here. And it's written in the same kind of context as Psalm 91. They have the overtones of a personified deity. And so, and you remember what Paul writes. Paul writes, oh death, where is your sting? On and on and on. And you know how much Paul was into the supernatural stuff.
Very much so.
That's what I got kind of tickled earlier because when you mentioned the people that were talking about it, and they're not typically going all into the supernatural, and it kind of is funny if you think about that, because I mean, our faith is literally based on the supernatural.
It completely is. It absolutely is.
It's funny when people act like that's like, you're getting off into the bushes and kind of being weird. When you get to that, it's like, dude,
I know.
If you're a Christian, I mean, your faith is based on the supernatural.
Yes, it's faith in what you can't see, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Hey, way to go, Mariners. We're up 4-3 now. Got our closer in. All right.
Paying attention. They're doing good.
I know. I got to see. The more I read the scripture, the more they win.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Ain't that how it works, man? You read scripture and everything good happens.
Man, that's exactly.
That's
what the Bible says.
Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Right.
Joel Osteen says, if I pray and do all right, I'll just get everything that I need and want.
You can live your best life.
Yes.
And you will be shielded from Deber and Ketev and Resheph. Yeah. Okay. So we're building a little case here. Okay. So you with me so far? We got a couple of little breadcrumbs along the trail.
Yeah.
So we've established that we have these personified deities in Psalm 91 that are echoed now in Hosea 13. Okay. So now we're going to go to Deuteronomy 32. Logan, read Deuteronomy 32:24.
Okay. Deuteronomy 32:24.
24.
Okay. All right. 32:24. They will be wasted by famine and consumed by plague and bitter destruction. And the teeth of beasts I will send upon them with the venom of crawling things of the dust.
Jeez. Yes. That sounds good, doesn't it?
That does, man. We're in some good metal stuff, man.
Yeah, and the word plague is literally burning heat.
Yes, it is. It is. But here's this word destruction again. Bitter destruction, ketev. So we got famine, plague, and ketev. Okay, so Deuteronomy 32. I mean, this is like the big time unseen realm passage, right?
Yeah.
This is where God divided the nations according to the sons of man, the Elohim. If you start this back a little bit in 17, you'll see that they sacrificed to demons who were not God, the gods whom they have not known, new gods who came lately, whom your fathers did not dread. So, I mean, what is it saying there? I mean, obviously, these are Elohim, these are gods. They are not God, but they are gods.
How do they sacrifice them?
What's that?
How do they sacrifice a demon?
They sacrifice two demons.
Oh, okay. I got you. I thought
they made their sacrifices two demons. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I might have mispronounced
that. Man, how do you sacrifice a demon?
And then he says, you neglected the capital R rock who begot you and forgot the God who gave you birth. The Lord saw this, spurned them because of the provocation of his sons and daughters. Then he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a perverse generation, sons in whom is no faithfulness. They have made me jealous with what is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their idols. So I will make them jealous with those who are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled in my anger and burns to the lowest part of Sheol and consumes the earth with its yield and sets on fire the foundations of the mountains. This is all, basically hell language, underworld language.
Yeah.
I'm sending you all there. And then he says they shall be wasted by famine, consumed by plague, bitter destruction. Okay, so this is kind of a little three verse section of this poem, song, if you will, and it talks about Israel going after other gods, shadim. So he says, "I will heap disasters." That's the word ra'ah. That's basically evil. I will spin my arrows on them. Um, it says in 23, I will heap misfortunes on them. I will use my arrows on them. And here we go with this reshef again, right?
Mm-hmm.
They will be devoured by plague, consumed, fought against, bitter destruction, ketev. And so we've got the pestilence is personified by Reshef, the plague god, who is an archer. So now we got Psalm 91, we got Hosea 13, now we've got Deuteronomy 32, and then we got all the players. We got Mot, Deber, Ketev, Reshef. Okay,
man, do you ever read that face value? You never see that when you just look at it face value.
No, and I mean there's no real reason to. Except for we really want to we want a better idea of what's going on in Psalm 91 and why Satan used it to quote to Jesus when he was trying to get him to jump off the lid of the temple, right? And we're going to find out. So now we get to go to Habakkuk 3. And I can never quite. I preached a whole sermon series on Habakkuk, but I can never remember quite where it is. It's like I fish around for it for a while until I find it. Let's see: Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Amos.
It's a good thing about this Bible
Obadiah.
app on my phone here.
I know. Joel, Amos, Obadiah. Is it right after Obadiah? Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk. There it is. Okay. I need to remember my little song, right?
Okay. Yeah, my kids just had to learn their Old Testament.
There you go. Okay, so this is a prayer of Habakkuk, and if you go down to, so I'm just going to read verses 1 through 5, and you'll catch this. A prayer of Habakkuk the prophet, according to Shigionoth. Lord, I have heard the report about you, and I fear. Lord, revive your work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make it known. In wrath, remember mercy. God comes, here it is. God comes from Teman. This is basically from the south.
Okay.
There's this whole big theology of Yahweh's march from the south, basically to move into the territories that would become the promised land. Okay, so God comes from Teman and the Holy One from Mount Paran. His splendor covers the heavens, and the earth is full of his praise. His radiance is like the sunlight. He has rays flashing from his hand, and there is the hiding of his power. Okay, so it's all saying how majestic and glorious God is. And then it says, before him goes pestilence, Deber, and plague, Reshef, comes after him.
There you go.
Okay, so basically what it's saying there is God has these two deities by a leash. Yeah. And they're not going to do anything. He's going to use them when he needs them, but they're not going to do anything that he doesn't know about. So that doesn't mean that the natural course of things on earth is not going to play itself out. But when there comes to a specific plague, pestilence, destruction, any of those kinds of things, they're not going to be able to act on their own, nor will they be able to resist the Most High God when he wants to snuff them out.
So these are not demons; they're plagues, not demons.
Well, okay. So these are names of known Canaanite gods. So, like we've talked about Baal, we've talked about Molech, we've talked about Dagon, and how they're real gods. They are not the most powerful gods, but they do have some sort of divine nature, divine power, as in they are spirit beings, not physical beings. And so, the typical understanding of pagan gods is that they were made up. They just somebody, carved an idol, and then they just said, "Hey, this is our God. We're going to worship it." But they, as we know, as we've sort of tracked our way through this, from the fall of not only in Genesis 3, but then again in Genesis 6 with the rebellious Elohim that commingled with the humans and created the giants. These are the kinds of gods that we're talking about here.
Gotcha.
And these are referencing God deities that were known by Israel. They were not necessarily worshipped by Israel. And so when you see the psalmists and some of the prophets talking about these deities, they're really talking about them as it's really too bad that these countries worship these gods because they're not nearly as powerful as our God.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
yeah.
and that really is. I mean,
Yeah.
when Habakkuk says, in front of him goes Deborah, and behind him go Resheph. He's basically saying, yeah, I mean, God's got a leash on him, and he's marching up from the south, and he's going to take his territory, and they're not going to be able to do anything that he doesn't know about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And when he's finished with them, and there they go. So we have Psalm 91, we have Hosea 13, we have Habakkuk 3, and we have Deuteronomy 32. All this common thread with this plague, pestilence, destruction kind of vibe, coupled that with death, which is the word Mot, which is actually the one of the king pagan deities of the Canaanites. Okay, now we're going to get to one more character, and this is where it starts to get very interesting. Psalm 78.
Okay.
We're going to go to Psalm 78, and we're going to see this new character, Barad. Now, the interesting thing about Barad is this is going to hyperlink us to the seventh plague in Egypt. And the seventh plague, I'm not even going to ask you because I couldn't remember it either, but the seventh plague is the fiery hailstones. Remember that?
I knew it. That's what I was going to say.
I knew you. Yeah, you got your sermon notes right there, don't you?
That's right. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. So here we go. Psalm 78:48 says this. It's at the top of this next page. It says, well, let me get a little bit before it. Basically, it's recounting the plagues in Egypt. Okay, so he gave their crops to the grasshopper, the product of their labor to the locust. He destroyed their vines with hailstones and their sycamore trees with frost. So that's the fiery hailstones. And when it talks about fiery hailstones, basically it's an image of a violent lightning storm that produces hail. So that's where the fire comes from. Comes from the
Gotcha.
Okay. So then he says he gave their cattle also to the hailstones and their herds to bolts of Barad. Bolts of Barad. So there is a deity, or well, let's put it this way. The Canaanites perceive that there is a deity that's throwing the lightning bolts. And so this is where we get this name, this personification of a deity here, and he's acknowledging that well, it is God who is doing the work, right?
Yeah.
And that is referencing the pagan god that they think is behind it, and so it's almost like exactly. It's like if you were telling the story. Now that Thor is not in control of the lightning bolts, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
But you're going to make a case for your God by saying, "Look, he even beat Thor.
Yeah.
He's even bigger than the Hulk."
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
Marvel's got nothing on this.
Right. This is the kind of language that we're dealing with here. So what happens is all of these pagan deities, okay, these personified deities. This is where I'm going with all this stuff. When we get toward the Second Temple period, and we're getting all these Second Temple writings and commentaries and interpretations of the Hebrew Bible, and they're seeing the world around them, and they're noticing that these deities still exist and they still have power. They basically, the Second Temple Hebrews put this all in the category of demons. They begin calling them demons. Now, technically, in the most technical sense of the word, they're not really demons. They're Elohim. But they get lumped into this whole landscape of demons. It's all demons. In Isaiah 28:2, I'm not going to go there, but basically Barad, the lightning bolt god, is paralleled with a demon in the service of Yahweh. That's what he calls it. This is a demon that is at Yahweh's beck and call. Behold, the Lord has a strong and mighty agent,
a storm of hail, a tempest of destruction. That's the word ketev. So you got Barad and ketev showing up in the same one. Job 5:7, he talks about the sons of the Resheph, the archers. It says they fly high, that they are like winged demons. So if we go back to Psalm 91, 11 through 13, it says, he will give his angels charge over you to guard you in all your ways. This is the first kind of time we get the concept of a guardian angel, right? This is where a lot of people go to get that. They will bear you up in their hands lest you strike your foot against a stone. Then comes the language about the lion and the serpent, okay? We've got... you will tread upon the lion and cobra, the young lion and serpent you will trample down. Now, these are images that are echoed in Isaiah. Deuteronomy 33 talks about, you will be subject to the venom of serpents. But then here we go with Psalm 58, which is kind of fascinating. I am going to turn there because it's a little more overt here. Psalm 58 says this, verses 1 through 3. Do you indeed, get this. Do you indeed speak righteousness, O gods, O Elohim? Do you judge uprightly, O sons of men? No, in heart you work unrighteousness. On earth you weigh out the violence of your hands. The wicked are estranged from the womb. Those who speak lies go astray from birth. And here it is. They have venom like the venom of a serpent, like a deaf cobra that stops up its ear, so that it does not hear the voice of charmers or a skillful caster of spells. O God, shatter their teeth in their mouth. Break out the fangs of the young lions, O Lord. Let them flow away like water that runs off when he aims his arrows. Let them be as headless shafts.
Oof.
How about that? Now, who is he talking to here? He's talking to Elohim. He's talking to, and he's referencing them, he's picking them off one at a time. We got the arrows.
He's naming pretty much each plague, ain't he?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And he's talking about the lion, talking about the cobra, all these kinds of things. So then at the end of the at the end of Psalm 58, I got to go back there now. I lost my place.
You didn't get jazzed up.
Yeah, I did. I got a little excited. But people have noticed how Psalm 58 ends a lot like Psalm 82, and Psalm 82 is another Elohim psalm. But he says, the righteous will rejoice when he sees the vengeance. He will wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, and men will say, surely there is a reward for the righteous. Surely there is a God who judges on the earth.
Yeah.
And Psalm 82 ends with, arise, O God, and judge the earth. You got more serpent language and dragon language in Isaiah 27, particularly. So we got all that case built. We got this whole matrix of ideas. We got this whole mosaic of these supernatural bad guys, right? Agents of chaos, these rebellious Elohim, or these pagan Canaanite gods, however you want to sort of categorize them. Now, all of this stuff gets picked up in the Second Temple writings, the thinkers and writers, especially in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, this is where it gets crazy. Okay. There's a guy named Craig Evans, and he wrote this really long book. I don't know the name of it right now, but his whole premise is, he says, commentators have long suspected that Psalm 91 was understood as offering assurance against demonic affliction. Like, this is not a new thing. This is something that's been around for a long time. Here's some evidence for it. In the discovery at Qumran, Psalm 91 was found almost flawlessly in its entirety, which is very rare. A lot of damage done to those scrolls, but almost the whole thing, just a few words missing. But it's found in a collection of 4 psalms. Okay, they're all bound together, like in the same scroll, in the same scroll hole, if you will. And but these other 3 psalms are not in the Hebrew Bible. They didn't make it in for some reason.
Do we know what they are?
We do know what they are. I'll reference one in a second. They're all labeled by letters and numbers. So one of them is 11Q11. So there you go. That doesn't sound very spiritual.
No, that doesn't. It's a weird.
I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, Psalm 91 is found in its entirety in a collection of psalms, a collection of 4 psalms. 3 of them are not in the Hebrew Bible. But these 3 that are not in the Hebrew Bible, it's kind of understandable why they're not in the Hebrew Bible, because they are very, very, very overtly and obviously exorcism psalms.
Right, okay. Right. See, now that checks out.
Yeah, and I'll
church, the Catholic, is that what the Catholic Church is using?
I don't think so, because I don't think the Catholic Church is that much into the Dead Sea Scrolls stuff and things like that. And plus, their tradition of exorcism goes back before the discovery of all the Dead Sea material.
Yeah, because that wasn't that long ago, was it?
No, that was like, what is it?
40s?
40s, I think it was.
40s.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah. And so, but here's the fascinating thing. Is in reading through these other psalms. Now they're pretty beat up. The other 3 are pretty beat up. You can get phrases here, phrases there, but I'm going to just give you a little bit of a smattering of stuff that I sort of collected from what I was reading. But the most interesting thing is that these scrolls attributed Psalm 91 and the other 3 to David. It just straight up says this is a Psalm of David.
Gotcha.
And on the other 3, it says that this is a Psalm of David as well.
See, I just looked that up. I just found 11Q11 Psalms.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Psalms 91, it says Psalms 91 of David.
Yep.
So, yeah,
that's the heading. Yeah. Now, it's interesting, too, because the translators of the Septuagint, the Greek Old Testament, they have it assigned to David. So really? I don't know exactly where they got it, but it must have been from the same place these guys got it. I don't know. But here's some of the language here. It says that David wrote. There's some accompanying documents that go with it, like a little I don't know, preface or something like that. But basically, it says David wrote 3,600 psalms. And it goes into all of the occasions that David wrote these psalms for. He wrote X amount of psalms for the Sabbath day. He wrote X amount of psalms for temple worship, X amount of psalms for, this feast and that feast and everything else. Like divides them all up. But then it says he also wrote X amount of psalms to perform over the possessed. I mean, he just flat out says, like David wrote, 19 psalms about demon possession.
So was David performing exorcisms?
Well, there is some sort of legend, and I don't know if it's founded in truth or not, or some sort of discovery or not, that says Solomon was known for exorcism, for casting out demons. Yeah. But it goes into all the occasions that David wrote for. It says he wrote certain amount of psalms to perform over the possessed. And it says, all these he spoke through the spirit of prophecy, which had been given to him from the Most High.
Yeah.
And there you go. It's a collection of 4 psalms found together, labeled 11Q11, 3 new psalms plus Psalm 91. And these others are riddled with confrontational demon language. And they also wrap in Solomon. They insert Solomon into the whole deal. There's a mention of Solomon, who is said to cast out demons. And he says things like, who are you, O offspring of man, and the seed of the holy ones? That's Elohim language right there.
Yeah.
Your face is a face of delusion, and your horns are horns of illusion. You are darkness and not light, injustice, not justice. The chief of the army of Yahweh will bring you down.
Yeah.
And it even gives sort of instructive language in these psalms about, call on the name of the Most High and your demon will be vanquished. I mean, it's like all this confrontational language. And then Psalm 91 is right there.
Well, I'm telling you, man, you weren't kidding when you said the condition.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
Because just in looking, I actually found a site here where they have pictures of the scrolls. And
oh, wow.
It says these were taken back in 2014. And it's the different, some of them from the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they are in shambles, man. Like
some of them are just fragments. Yeah.
That's the zigzags. Those are pieces of it.
Wow.
I mean, I don't even know how you get anything off of that. Like, it's in such bad shape, man. It's
crazy. It's said that there were literally layers and layers of bat guano on the bottoms of these caves and there were scrolls, like intertwined in it. And they spent years picking apart the bat poo and
there's a little
picking
bit
out
of bat
pieces
poo on that piece there.
There you go. He does. He really does. And then they find these pieces and try to fit them all together.
That's crazy, man.
Crazy.
How the crap they do that?
Yeah. So how did you spend your life? Well,
Literally,
sifting
how in the
through
crap
back.
did they do that, man?
I
Sifting
don't
through
even
that
know.
crap.
So then, okay. So Pat, what do you know about the Targum?
The Targum.
Targum. Logan, anything? Have you ever heard of the Targums
I've
before?
never heard of that.
Okay. It's plural. Targums are like Jewish rabbi commentaries. And you can find these targums that are written about every single book in the Old Testament. So you can find a number of targums about Ezra and targums about Nehemiah, and all this stuff. And sometimes it's there's so it's almost like our commentary. Sometimes you get a commentary and you go, "This guy is out to lunch. This
Yeah.
cannot be."
Yeah.
Or you get some sort of really super progressive mindset or super fundamentalist, and it's just clearly so that some of the targums are just clearly it's like no, that's out of bounds. But then you get some targums that are written by a respected figure, respected rabbi who has produced lots and lots of reliable material over a long, long time.
Yeah.
And so you have to pay attention to some of these. And so there's a targum, a particular targum on Psalm 91. I don't know who the author is. You could probably find this out, but this guy riffs on Psalm 91 pretty hard. And he straight up brings Solomon right into the picture in Psalm 91, just like these other three Psalms.
Yeah.
So here's the way he reads Psalm 91, parts of it. He says, "You will not be afraid of the terror of the demons that go about in the night." He just straight up, let's just call them what they are. They're just demons. "You will not be afraid of the terror of the demons that go about in the night, nor of the arrow of the angel of death that he shoots in the daytime."
Okay.
And he's just, he's letting her rip. "Nor of the death that goes about in the darkness, or the company of demons that destroy it at noon." He says, "You will call to remembrance the holy name, and 1,000 will fall at your left side." See, this is exorcism language.
It is.
You call upon the Most High, the name of the Most High, and 1,000 will fall at your left. 1,000 what? 1,000 demons. 10,000 at your right hand.
Yeah.
"But they will not come near to you to do harm. You will only look with your eyes, and you will see how the wicked are being destroyed." And then he says, "Solomon answered," and this is what he said. He just put yeah, of course, this is to Solomon. If you read the way this is structured here, it is structured in three little parts. It says something about God, and then it talks about God's protection, and then he says, well, I'll read you what he says that Solomon said. Solomon answered, this is what he said: "Because you, the Lord, are my refuge, in the most high dwelling place, you have set the house of your Shekinah, your glory." But the Lord of the world responded, and this is what he said: "No evil shall befall you, and no plague or demons shall come near your tent." That's the way he writes it. And he writes it from the perspective, this particular Targum writer interprets this as David writing Psalm 91 to his son Solomon. And Solomon basically getting in the whole swim of things with it. And Solomon responds, and then the Lord responds, and so on and so forth. And so, here, this is my case up to this point, is that we see these names in Psalm 91, and then we see them again in Hosea, and then we see them again in Habakkuk, and then we see them twice in Deuteronomy 32. We see them in Psalm 58, Psalm 74.
Yeah.
It's like there's all these little breadcrumbs along the trail, and I just have a hard time believing, especially with the scholarly work that has been done, that this is any kind of coincidence. I just don't think it is. I think that we can accurately think about Psalm 91 as being about spiritual warfare and about the condition of the of us in the unseen world. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
I thought I had done found something on Q11.
Really?
Yeah, because I found actually 146 page text on it, but it's It's in Hebrew.
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
So yeah, if your buddy Michael
Wow.
Heiser wants to suddenly appear, then I'll
Yes.
pass it over and let him read it. But
Let's find the witch at Endor.
yes.
Maybe there's one in Burleson or Garland or somewhere.
Yeah, do we got any local Hebrew translators?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We have a lot of people that proclaim to be.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. So,
but it is I do so he just pretty much just dominates Psalm 91.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and when you discover that many of the ancient documents assign this to David, we know that there's some sort of rumbling in the distance about Solomon dabbling in exorcism and things like this. And now some people will push back on this, just like they push back on the whole Elohim divine council kind of idea, because they'll say, well, demons are just flat out not mentioned in the Old Testament. There is no incident of a demon having been cast out of anybody in the Old Testament, and that is true.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
That is true.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
And is so the first sign of a demon being cast out when Jesus cast the demon out?
Yeah, documented anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Second Temple literature, demons are everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean everywhere, and so we have to sort of answer that question. Were demons and the demonic even on the Jewish radar, and even in the stream of Jewish consciousness in ancient times? Because there's just no mention of specifically demons being cast out, or those kinds of things. Even when it says in Job 1, where it talks about Satan, it's not Satan as a title. It is literally the word Satan, the Satan. It is the Satan. So the Satan is one of those Elohim beings, small g gods, and Satan means the accuser. And so apparently that's what his identity was. And so we're not even talking about demons and devils and Satans and things like that in the Old Testament. But there is research, and I was fascinated. I came across this yesterday. There's research been done into what they call Jewish magical texts, or incantational prayers, if you will. These are little prayers, probably written by their teachers or rabbis, or something like that. I guess it wouldn't have been rabbis then; it would have been their, I guess, the priests, whoever they were reporting to. Anyway, they would to help them pray in certain situations. And so these little incantational prayers, really asking God to do something for you or against somebody else. And they were written on bowls, written on pots, written on jewelry, carved in certain things. And it would be basically almost like you would do for your life verse. You put it on your refrigerator where you can see it. You see it every day, every day.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah, live, laugh, love. That's exactly right. Yes. Don't curse the storm. Learn how to dance in the rain, right?
That's right. Yeah. Peter's got that. For people that can't see, that's actually on his bookshelf back there behind him.
Yes, exactly. Along with Live Your Best Life Now by Joel Osteen.
Yes.
So we're gonna get tagged for saying Joel Osteen too many times.
We really are.
Somebody's algorithm, and they're gonna get freaked out.
They're gonna be a Joel fan, and they're gonna get brought over here and be really shocked.
Maybe they will. Yes, they will be shocked. That's for sure. Okay, so we got these magical text incantational prayers, and now they found an amulet that obviously a woman wore around her neck. And on the amulet, it mentions the name of the woman it belonged to. It's in Hebrew. I don't know what it says. And it was found in a place in a household near where she would have given birth. It has a prayer etched in it, written on it. The prayer is very specifically to drive away all kinds of demons and demonesses, evil diseases, and harmful male and female spirits, so that she and her baby would be healthy and protected. And in the first column, there is a reference to Psalm 91.
Hey, there you go.
That's pretty much the smoking gun, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, here you go, this incantational prayer against all the evil spirits, so the baby wouldn't get sick and the mom wouldn't die. And there's Psalm 91 right there. Now, I don't know what kind of closer reference do you know, and also it's evidence that demons and the demonic were absolutely on their radar screen in those ancient times. It's just not in the Hebrew scriptures, or maybe it is, and we're just not seeing it because we're not reading with those supernatural glasses on.
Well, and like, would they have known? I mean, again, how would they have described a demon? You know, what would have been their way of describing a demon back then? Like, I think about, you know, we talk about they describe things that people in their day would understand. So,
right.
So
right. Good point. That's a really good point, because they would not. I mean, they would not have used the word demon.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they might not. Yeah, who knows what they would have called them.
I mean, I imagine that their concept of them would be much like our concept of them, except for I think that they would realize they would be much more aware of the reality of the little g gods. You know, like they wouldn't have thought that Dagon was a made up god, that
That's
he
true.
was powerless. They would have a certain kind of healthy fear of anybody who worshipped Dagon, because Dagon would have power.
Yeah.
And but that was the funny thing is, you know, when the Ark of the Covenant was put in their temple, Dagon fell on his face.
He sure did. They said, "Come get this thing, man."
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that that Dagon didn't have any power. It certainly did. But then, you know, we would consider it, you know, like, what is a evil spirit? You know, it's just that it's a dark force that tends to want to invade your world and mess it up somehow. And so you know, we pray, you know, we pray that the Holy Spirit would come. We rebuke the spirits that would come near, and, you know, all this stuff. So I imagine conceptually, I think it would be pretty similar, other than their much more vivid acknowledgement of the actual gods behind them. Wouldn't you say, Pat?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's the I don't know the right word to describe it. I think it's the mythology that we hang on to. We think everything is just, it's the idea. It's the idea. And it's very real. And I think that's the thing that we miss when we read these things, because, like, God is carrying on a cosmic war and wins, like, it's victory after victory after victory. And we just kind of read over that, you know?
Yeah. But the only time that these evil forces, or these powers of darkness, or however you want to say it, the only time they maintain control is when people have rejected God.
Yeah.
Because then it's free reign.
Yeah,
you know,
for
sure. Isn't it true, or don't they say, and I think we've covered this, but if you are saved, you cannot be possessed. You could be influenced, but you can't be possessed. Correct?
Absolutely. In fact, I think you can literally be in bondage to an evil force because you've left that part of your life vulnerable.
Yeah.
And gosh, you know, how many times we do that? You know,
that's kind of the common theme on that. Again, referencing that Exorcist Files. Typically, the people that get possessed
watch horror movies.
They watch horror movies. Yes. They come from that. And listen to heavy metal.
Yes, I knew it.
But I've been possessed for a while.
Drink monsters.
Yeah, your upside down cross or whatever it is.
Claw of the beast.
They have to more or less invite the spirit in.
Right.
And it is kind of interesting for me to think about, because it's kind of like, and maybe some of them don't directly do it, but their actions, they more or less invite the spirit in. And it's interesting for me to think about, because it's like, you really have two choices of who you invite in.
That's
and
true.
It's like, okay, you either invite in God or you invite in the other side. And so, and again, if you got God in there, you can't be possessed, but I do, like, you can be influenced.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, absolutely. I mean, we've all seen it. People that we know without a shadow of a doubt, they are saved.
Yep.
And then they go somehow down a dark path, and you're like, man, what in the world? But you know they're saved. And so, but I just think that it's kind of interesting. Like, more or less kind of have to choose. I mean, I think anyways, you kind of choose for
Well,
that.
I think if you are not actively choosing the Most High God through Jesus, then by default you're choosing
Yes.
the dark side, and you may, wind your way through your life, thinking that everything is perfectly fine, but it's really not. I mean, you're not going to, you're living this very low kind of level existence, even though you might have $130 billion. Um, that doesn't guarantee anything,
That's right.
So, and somebody just, every head bowed, every eye closed.
Yeah.
I see that hand.
Yeah.
So, here's another question. Okay, so we asked the question: were demons and the demonic even on the Jewish consciousness at that time? Yeah, and I say yes. It even accelerated through the Second Temple period up to the time of Jesus.
Mhm.
And this is relates to the next question, is because we know that Jesus cast out many demons, a legion of demons. But one curious thing about that is that when people saw him cast out demons, take control over the spirit world, that they immediately began to associate him with the Messiah figure.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, how does that compute? Because if demons and all those kinds of things were never part of the messianic prophecies, I think honestly that's probably more present there than we read into it. But
That's what I was gonna say. I think so.
yeah, but you read the suffering servant prophecies and some of the Isaiah stuff, and you don't really get the idea that the Messiah is going to come and he's going to cast out demons, to the point where when he does cast out one, you go, oh yeah, clearly that's the Messiah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little crazy. On the Michael Heiser podcast that was dealing with this Psalm 91, he points to Luke chapter 13, and I wanted to just make a quick reference to Luke 13. He's talking with some of the religious leaders, and it was reported to him about the Galileans whose blood Pilate had mingled with their sacrifices. So they're clearly, this is like this bad juju, right?
Right.
We're demonic, And he answered and said to them, do you suppose these Galileans were greater sinners than all other Galileans because they suffered this fate? I tell you, no. But unless you repent, you will all likewise perish. So he's basically kind of saying, don't assign everything to demonic activity, okay?
Right.
Because it's not. But then he says, or do you suppose that those 18 on whom the tower in Siloam fell and killed them were worse culprits than all the men who live in Jerusalem? I tell you, no, but unless you repent, you will all likewise perish. And then right after that, it's so funny because in verse 10, it says he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath, and behold, there was a woman who for 18 years had a sickness caused by a spirit.
There you go.
So he's going, no, don't assign everything to a spirit. But then he goes, oh, that's a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's just kind of a little bit of a sidebar there, but clearly they begin to associate taking control of the spirit world with the Messiah figure who was to come.
Well,
and this really brings it into full view as well when they're out on the boat and the storm comes up and Jesus stands up and it says he rebukes the wind and the waves. Like he's coming against them. And so they would also then see this as some sort of battle in the spiritual realm as well.
Well, that's what I just asked my Terminator. I said, "Are demons mentioned in the Old Testament?" And it's pretty interesting. It said yes, but it was like not like we're thinking.
That's it.
In terms of the New Testament, and it gives here several instances, like as far as it said, oftentimes it's related to idolatry, but it does mention Shedem or Shed in Deuteronomy 32:17.
Shadim.
Yeah, Shadim.
Shadim, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Sarium.
Yeah.
Sarium. It says goat demons. That's Leviticus 17:7 and Isaiah 32. But an interesting one here is on the spirits and evil beings. It says, 1 Samuel 16:14, an evil spirit sent from the Lord to torment Saul.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
which is odd for me kind of to think about, like a demon sent from the Lord.
Yeah, this is the same kind of language that is used in God hardening Pharaoh's heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it said, there was a time in when Saul was anointed, the Holy Spirit he basically was on him. He was and so he prophesied and did all these things, and he followed the Lord, and he defeated the enemies and all this stuff. But then in the course of time, and when he continued to disobey, finally it says the Lord was sorry that he had made Saul king.
Yes.
And he took his Holy Spirit from him.
Yeah.
And so that then left Saul wide open to what he wanted in the first place, was power and control.
Yeah.
And this evil spirit then, it's like the Lord did not stop the evil spirit. Let's put it that way. Just like God ceased to intervene in trying to make Pharaoh's heart soft.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say, so I pulled up one that I'm going to read, and I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah.
This is Isaiah 34:14.
Okay.
And it says, the desert creatures will meet with the wolves. The hairy goat also will cry to its kind. Yes, the night monster will settle there and will find herself a resting place. Would that be a demon?
Once again, it would not necessarily be a demon in the classic sense of our American consciousness. But yes, it would be a dark spirit. It would be a spirit from either the underworld or the rebellious Elohim side of things, for sure.
Gotcha.
And I think, didn't we reference that in one of our Halloween episodes?
I'm almost positive we did, because the night monster stood out to me.
I think we did.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we did.
There's some odd name for the hairy goat as well. I don't remember what it was.
It was in this phrase. Isn't that the hold on, right here? The hairy goat was that's the Cerium, ain't it? Literally, goat demons are hairy ones.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's it.
Cerium.
Yeah,
I don't know how you pronounce
close
it.
enough.
Yeah,
close enough.
Yeah.
And the Shadim is like the destroyer in the Passover plague as well.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, and that's what it said. It's like demons are mentioned, but not like you said, not like we would.
Yeah, because we of course, Michael Heiser's not the only one. There are others in his little camp that will say that our modern day demons are disembodied spirits of the Nephilim.
Gotcha.
So they are the spirits of these hybrid half human, which also kind of makes sense because when he in that other psalm that we read where he says you are sons of the earth, but you're the seeds of the holy ones. It's like describing the hybrid nature of these the spirit beings. And so, there you go. Another kind of veiled reference to that same thing.
So if we find ourselves having to perform an exorcist on the fly, we need to go to Psalm 91.
I think I might go there. I honestly think I might, because okay. So, but then we have to ask one more question. We haven't finished this whole thing full circle, because then we have to ask the question: why did Satan quote Psalm 91 when he was tempting
That's a
Jesus?
very good question. Yeah,
it is. Let's just go there in our last few minutes. We've got a little bit of time left. Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. Just pretty straightforward. It's right after his baptism. He fasted 40 days, 40 nights. He then became hungry. Well, really? Okay. And the tempter came and said to him, if you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread. And he answers from Deuteronomy, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but on every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. This is Moses' commentary on a situation that the Israelites had while they were in the wilderness and screaming out for bread. And so he counters that one. But then the devil took him into the holy city. And he had him stand on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down. For it is written," here it comes, "He will give his angels charge concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone." He doesn't read the next verse, which talks about stomping on the cobra and the lion. He leaves that one out.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going on there? Why is he going right to Psalm 91?
I feel like he's coming out. I mean, I just feel like he's trying to use his own ammo against him is kind of the way I would take that.
Kind of feels like it. But there's another angle that I've heard this from two scholars already, and I hadn't consulted the third one that I like. But one of them calls this a fishing expedition. So let's think about it this way. So Satan knows the psalm, right? He knows it. He also knows, who he is. He is not quite sure exactly who Jesus is. God's not revealed the plan to him. And so he knows that he's doing divine things. He knows he's saying divine teachings, but he's not exactly sure about the plan. And so if you think about it, if Jesus goes along with this, then there are three potential outcomes. Okay, so if Jesus jumps and the angels catch him, then God's plan has just been subverted, because the plan is for Jesus to die for the sins of the world, right? Bring in the kingdom of God. So he couldn't then, even if he was divine, he could not be the Messiah. Of course, Satan doesn't know anything about Jesus having to die either. So it's like, okay, so, angels, whatever. But the problem with him falling and the angels catching him is that he's just basically obeyed Satan.
Yeah.
He's done, he did what
true.
Satan asked him to do.
That's right.
Scenario number 2, he falls and dies. Boom. He's
then
not
Satan ain't got to worry about it no more.
Exactly. It's over. Yeah, it's gone. And actually, but there's a third possibility. He jumps, he dies, and God freaks out and raises him up from the dead. Now you just gave away the whole plan.
So I was going to say, are you saying that this was kind of the Satan's plan to just verify whether or not it's true?
Yes. Satan wants to know exactly who Jesus is, and as much as he can about God's plan for him and God's plan for the world.
Everything. I never thought about that.
Yeah, for real. It's kind of like a covert op.
Well, you remember what Paul said. He said, if the powers of darkness had known the plan of God, they would have never crucified the Lord of glory.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I guess my little simpleton thinking, I just assumed Satan knew, not knew the plan necessarily, but just knew that Jesus was Jesus. I don't know. I never have thought about it that way.
Well, I don't discount that he might have known something, but here we go. The prophecies in the Old Testament are very cryptic, right? They don't spell it out. Sometimes we wish they were more overt about it.
Yeah.
But as Heiser would say, demons can read too. Yeah. And so, as hard as it is for us, it's equally as hard for them. But also, think about this. Jesus' birth was in a secret place, hidden away. It wasn't revealed to anybody at first. A bunch of shepherds who nobody would believe because they're not allowed to testify in a court of law. They're not allowed in the temple because they smell so bad. Yeah, and that's who, and we kind of marvel at all this stuff, but really you can see that all this was done hush hush under the cover of darkness. Even the magi that came from the east, they just came to drop off a bunch of gold and silver and frankincense and myrrh and all this stuff, so they would have a bankroll to take to Egypt with them when they had to get out of Dodge, and then
absolutely,
they came back. And it's all of this undercover stuff. Choosing, an unmarried woman who's going to be scorned. She's not going to be prominent ever. Joseph is, a day laborer, and he's nobody's going to believe him either. I mean, it's all this stuff. So I know that Satan's smarter than the average Joe. He lives in the spirit world, right? So there's certain things that he would be privy to, and so I don't think at all that he just thinks Jesus is a regular guy. But but I think this is what gets his attention is all of these. I mean, Jesus shows up on the scene. He's announcing, "Repent, for the kingdom of God is here," and then he insists on being baptized. That's got to get Satan's attention. Like, wait a second, And then he starts doing, but then he's led out into the wilderness. So he hasn't given the Sermon on the Mount yet. He hasn't done like tons and tons of miracles yet. All this stuff is still just in its infancy. But enough has happened, and there's been enough of a disturbance in the spirit world that Satan says, "I need to get this guy out here." And so, he's fasted for 40 days, 40 nights. First thing he does is go for his stomach. Hey, if you're the Son of God, hey, do me a miracle here. Let me see, and you'll get some food out of it at the same time.
Yeah.
And so here he is. He takes him up to the pinnacle of the temple, and he says, "Jump off," because Psalm 91. And it's so ironic that Psalm 91 is a prayer for assurance of protection from the evil forces of the world. And here's, it's like
literally
Jesus going like
the head honcho of the evil forces.
Yeah, exactly. And Jesus going, "Why are you quoting that Psalm to me?" But here's the crazy thing. So I think there's a lot of credence to that idea that Satan was, trying to bait him into showing his hand, basically.
Yeah, that's
Right,
that's
yeah.
interesting. I've never thought about that.
I haven't either, but that's good.
It is.
But then here's the wild thing about it. On the other hand, Jesus says, "It is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test." He quotes from Deuteronomy again, and this is what we're going to be preaching about this week. The people tested the Lord.
Yeah.
They wanted to draw him out and make him do what they wanted him to do to prove that he was God. And God wasn't playing that game. And Jesus isn't going to play that game either. But here's the funny thing about it. He takes him to a high mountain, shows him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory, says, "All these things I will give you." And we know that at this moment, Satan has dominion because Adam and Eve gave him dominion. So it is his to give at this point. "I'll give all this to you if you'll just fall down and worship me." Well, first of all, he's lying. He wasn't going to give any of his stuff.
Well, that's
away.
what I was about to ask you. Do you think he actually would have given up
No.
dominion?
No, because if you fall down and worship somebody, then you've lost all any power that you had to begin with. And so it's like, hey, Satan's going, joke's on you, Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, he wasn't going to do that. But then Jesus says to him, "Be gone, Satan, for it is written," another Deuteronomy passage, "you shall worship the Lord your God and serve him only." So these two responses, and I don't know if Satan gets this or not. It doesn't appear that he does. But when he says, "You shall not put the Lord your God to the test," he's pointing at himself.
Yeah.
And so that's as much information as he's going to give him.
Right.
Is that I am that Yahweh in human form.
Absolutely.
And that I don't think Satan was even aware of. I don't think that was on his bingo card at that point.
Yeah.
But I think it got his attention. So there you go. It's Jesus doesn't take the bait. He dismisses Satan and he says, "You shall not put me to the test. I ain't playing your game." So there you go with Psalm 91. It's a psalm of protection from supernatural darkness. It is a messianic psalm. It fits under the category of messianic psalm. And so it is connected with Jesus having power over the supernatural darkness. It prophesies of one who is to come who will have that kind of power. So there you go, Psalm 91. That was a little bit deep and nerdy, but I thought it was quite fascinating.
I
thought that was awesome, man. That's a way cooler breakdown of Psalm 91 than I was anticipating. Like when I just read that, I never have gotten that much coolness out of it.
Perspective is a mofo, man. It'll grab you when you look at it a certain way.
Well, and so here we go. I want to read the psalm one more time. We got a couple more minutes left. Now, with all of these rabbit trails we've been following, in all these characters that we've put out on the playing field, and all this stuff, I'll read it one more time, and we'll see what it says. "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. For it is he who delivers you from the snare of the trapper and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his pinions, that's his outer wings, and under his inner wings you may seek refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and a bulwark. You will not be afraid of the terror by night, or of the arrow that flies by day, of the pestilence that stalks in darkness, or of the destruction that lays waste at noon. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not approach you. You will only look on with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked. For you have made the Lord my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil will befall you, nor will any plague come near your tent. For he will give his angels charge concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will bear you up in their hands, lest you strike your foot against a stone. You will tread upon the lion and cobra, the young lion and the serpent you will trample down. Because he has loved me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him securely on high, because he has known my name. He will call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will rescue him and honor him. With a long life I will satisfy him and let him behold my salvation.
Amen.
So,
I like it, man. I like it.
It's crazy.
It is.
But I think it's pretty awesome. And again, as with all of these, if you read this as a psalm of comfort and encouragement and confidence in the Lord Most High,
go for it.
More power to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. If you want to write a song about this psalm, on but when we go behind the text a little bit further, then it actually becomes even more of a sense of confidence and courage, because now this is specifically talking about protection from the realm that we can't see.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
why would we not want that?
Friday night,
It's
you go down to Memphis and you stumble into an alleyway and you find yourself face to face with a demon. Just go ahead and turn to Psalm 91.
Or if you're sitting at a place with high back boots and somebody peeks over the top and says,
"You don't need to
be
here.
Are you a Christian? You're not supposed to be here."
Then you just get the crap out of there.
He's given his angels charge over you to keep you from stumbling.
Yes.
And then you better obey.
Yep. No, man, I liked it. That was great.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So anyway, that's our Psalm 91. That's our pandemic song.
Straight out of context.
That's
Guys,
exactly right.
Comment below and let us know what you thought about that. Let us know if you had any idea that's what that was all about and could be used. So comment that below. Let us know your thoughts on that. Yeah. We do ask that you leave us 5-star ratings on Spotify and Apple.
Do it.
Anywhere else.
Do it.
And also, don't forget, 10/10, 6:30 p.m.
That's exactly right.
Be there or be square.
That's it. And also, kind of a low-key underrated thing that you should do is hit the bell on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, for real.
You know what that does? It doesn't just give you notifications as to when we post, but it also helps the general algorithm of YouTube.
It does.
When we get more bells, then it gets us swimming in different streams, and more different kinds of people get to be introduced to us and decide if they love us or hate us. So there you go.
That's right.
Yep. And just think, I would have gotten out today.
Yeah. 20 years, man. 20 years.
All right. We appreciate you. We do appreciate you. And we hope to see you again next week. How about it?
Sounds good.